In this video, we'll show you how to easily create a basic Gantt chart on the page, connect it to a Node.js backend, populate the Gantt chart with data, and send user changes back to the backend. You can get a complete demo on GitHub or follow our step-by-step video guide. To begin with, we create a project folder and name it dhx-gantt-node.js. Now we create the package.json file by running npm init-y command. The result will look similar to this one. Next, we follow a basic Express setup. Now we create a new file named server.js and add the following code into it. In this code, we define that static files will be served from the public folder, and the application will be attached to 1337 port of the local host. On the next step, we create the public folder. This folder will contain the main page of our application, index.html. Let's look closer at the Gantt initialization. The first thing you need to do is to display the chart on the page. There are just 3 simple steps. In the first instance, we add the Gantt library to the page, then create an HTML container on the page, and initialize Gantt in the newly created container with the init method. As a parameter, the method takes an HTML container, or its ID, that the Gantt chart will be displayed in. Let's check what we have at the moment. We run the following command from the command line, then specify a path to your local server in the browser. You should see a page with an empty Gantt chart like this one. The next step is populating our Gantt with the data. The data model is pretty simple. We have an array of tasks. Each task must have at least the ID, name, starting date, and duration properties. And optionally, an array of links between tasks. Each link has its ID, IDs of connected tasks, and the type of relation. To parse the data into the Gantt chart, we use the parse method. Now our Gantt chart is loaded with the test data that we have previously added. Another way to load data from the backend API is to use XHR. Let's take a look at how it's done using a static JSON file. To load data from an external file, service, or script, use the load method. The load method will send an AJAX request to the specified URL and expect a JSON response in the same format we've shown before. Now we have a basic Gantt chart, which shows the data from our backend. If you want users to be able to modify the chart, you'll need a way to capture user changes in order to save them. So the last thing that we are going to talk about is how to send client changes back to the backend. To do so, we go to index.html and enable the built-in Gantt.data processor module. We have provided data processor with a URL to save updates and initialized it in the REST mode, which means it will expect a RESTful API on the backend. Now we add a route and a handler to capture these requests on the server. For this demo, our handlers will simply output requests to the terminal so that you could get the idea of what's going on. Since data processor is initialized in the REST mode, it will use different HTTP verbs for each type of operation. On each user action, adding, changing, or removing a new task or link, data processor will react by sending an AJAX request to the corresponding URL. The types of requests are pretty simple. Post, to insert a new item into the database. Put, to update an existing record. Delete, to remove an item. This is it. Hope this video gives you an idea of how to work with the DHX Gantt library. Now you can easily create a basic Gantt chart on the page, connect it to a Node.js backend, populate the Gantt chart with data, and send user changes back to the backend. We didn't show the code that would save the user changes made to Gantt on the backend in order to make this video short and simple. However, you can find detailed instructions on how to do that together with a complete demo and a text version of the tutorial with a RESTful API implementation in the video description. Take care, and thank you for watching this video.